A disaster of a game number 1 for JDG is all that you can pretty much say about that first match. We already mentioned they're trying to bounce off of a victory they picked up against RNG earlier in the week. Game 1, they tried something unique. It did not work out for them against IG.
And pretty much all their second chances are gone. It is a best of 3. You expect Invictus Gaming that they don't have to change anything. They can literally hit JD the exact same way that they did. And JD are back to the drawing board. Now, going on to blue side, it does mean that they will have access to priority pick, which is important because I think they need to grab something OP to try to carry them over the line. But the problem is that they just lost on red side, when to beat IG, you need to have strong winning matchups. And from red side, theoretically, you should do that. They had, like, what, 5 bans at top side plus a priority pick into Gnar from secondary ban phase, and still got rocked.
Yeah, and that's something that you were talking about during the actual picks and bans. We didn't get to talk about it too much during the post game, which was the fact that IG were very comfortable with saying, you know what, there's a lot of top lane bans going on, a lot of target bans towards the Shy, we can still find a counter pick somewhere. Whereas JDG was so focused on trying to secure one of the few remaining picks that are very viable in the top lane in Gnar.
It makes Invictus Gaming an incredibly strong team on blue side, whereas a lot of LPL teams aren't, because they can't utilize flex picks as much, and they have to really prioritize having like a first pick Sejuani or something like that. But the fact the depth of IG's champion pool and the depth of their effective champion pools, you know, champions that they can actually make an impact on, is just so deep that they were able to pull out a Lucian Rise flex between that mid and top lane to make sure that Rookie just absolutely smashed. And then red side Invictus Gaming is even more terrifying because you get red side Rookie and it makes it that much easier for them to secure the counter picks in the solo lanes and smash you again.
So that brings back to what we were talking about before game number 1, which was how the onus is on JDG to try and show more of their strategy here to try and make it to the 4th place spot. And they have. They showed that they can try and go for these very early ganks, which unfortunately didn't work out for them. But on top of that, we were seeing how IG, they need to try and not show anything. But they have, once again, they show they can flex the rise to top lane, and they brought out a new pick for themselves, which is going to be Lucian in the mid lane.
It's only a new pick this split, however.
Yes.
We know that Rookie is a long-time Lucian mid player. Lucian has been not necessarily flex as much as we've seen it in the LPL. Well, this is our first Lucian for the LPL, but he has been played globally, and ALCS comes to mind. Huni and Licorice both played it on the top side. So it's not like Lucian has been, you know, just like a secret pick that no one has touched, especially with the changes. He got power back on his double tap, as well as his piercing strike, I believe, and now the crit damage can also amplify on his secondary attack. And the thing is Lucian as an AD carry is really hard to make work because he can't have as much lane control when he wants to trade with you. Yeah, he can always trade very effectively with his double tap passive, but when he wants to hit you with Piercing Light, he's forced to push the lane. So he doesn't get as much control as he wants. But as a solo laner, having that extra damage, it makes him almost more viable in a mid and top scenario because your trading power is still incredibly strong.
There's nothing much was changed about Lucian from the last split, where we saw it quite frequently in the mid lane.
About 2 patches ago he was changed.
And Scout was one of the champions that was picking up quite a lot in the mid lane. We saw it all the time being played by him for EDG, and then since All-Stars moving into the first week of the LPL, we didn't see Lucian anymore. Now that Rookie's brought it back, there's another pick that we can kind of watch out for because there are so many mid laners in the LPL itself that can play this champion.
It means that Invictus Gaming just had a better read, and you have to credit their draft phase. I think that they've had one of the strongest drafts alongside Rogue Warriors in the LPL. Surprise, surprise, they're also on the top of the LPL. But to know that Yagao, he's your primary Galio player in the LPL. Galio has been slightly nerfed. You have a feeling that Yagao is going to pick it up anyway, and you have the Lucian counter, which when Lucian was played heavily, it was into Galio.
Galio, as we mentioned, already been nerfed slightly. Still was a priority pick coming out from JDG in this match. First picking it on the red side. Didn't see too much of it. As we mentioned, IG were able to shut that down, and it came from that mid lane jungle synergy. Something that JDG are well known for. We saw none of that in this match. It was all about the jungler Clid moving down to the bottom lane. Didn't work out for them. Perhaps now they go back to their roots and start playing that playstyle that we know them for.
Clid didn't look too bad about it, though. He was actually the last one walking onto the stage. Big smile. You can see him in the back there with the coach. So hopefully he's able to shake it off. I don't necessarily think that game 1 was his fault. He committed to his bot lane, he tried to set them up for success, and unfortunately he was the one who had to pay the price for it, because if you see the bottom jungler that long, you're going to lose your entire jungle. That's what Ning did, and also gave him access to early ganks on mid lane.
Which is the case of strategies like this. I mean, Gigabyte Marines showcased it last year at Worlds, where they play a very risky playstyle, where if it works, that's it, you've won the game from level 2. If it doesn't work, you've lost the game at level 2. JDG tried to do that against IG, and the good thing for them is they did it in game number 1. So now moving into game 2, they can still play this best 3 series out, try and go back to their playstyle and see if they can pick up a win that way.
And logic tells us that JD shouldn't have won this game. So in terms of the playoff race, yes, it would be nice for them to do it. Yes, they're still sitting behind Suning, who currently hold the 4th place spot. But this isn't a must-win for JD. I think that this is just a learning moment. Take what you can get from the game time against Invictus Gaming, and then prepare for your agency match against Suning at the end of Week 9.
And on top of that, this game means a lot for IG. A win here secures them a playoff spot. They can no longer be locked down. And Rogue Warriors as well. So 2 teams would have already picked up their spots in the Eastern Conference. For the side of JDG, yes, still have a series on their hand. Yes, it's not one that we expected them to win. But if they can pick up a victory here, they just take another giants of their conference, and that should give them a much better edge moving into the 4th place spot.
They've already taken down RNG. Miracles can happen, but like we said, this is really the battle between Suning and JD. They face at the end of Week 9. Strength of schedule, JD still have TOP to face, so there should theoretically be free points available for them. So from here, it's just about, getting your sea legs ready.
It's still 2.5 weeks before we can make it to the playoff stage, and JDG still have a series on their hands against Invictus Gaming. Before we get into the second match of this best 3 series, let's hear from Jackie Love.
我们接下来对阵京东了，因为京东的话，我们以前也打过很多，而且也是全胜吧，所以我觉得话，我们这次打他们的话，我们应该不会输，我们还是会继续拿下这场比赛。他们这个队伍的话是比较喜欢前期打架，然后打出优势，但这点跟我们很像。但是我觉得我们前期打架不会输给他们。
We will just keep beating them, says Jackie. And to be honest, that's a pretty easy thing to say when you're, currently 26-4 in the LPL, only dropping games to LGD, FPX, don't talk about that, and then RNG and the 2-0 at the start of the split.
But it's also what he said about it. They have a very similar playstyle. JD want to have the early game. IG are the early game when you compare both of these teams. And as we come into the second game champion select pulse, I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. There's a Swain.
There is a Swain, but let's catch up on the ban. So it's Tamken, Zaya, and Vladimir from JD Gaming and Invictus Gaming banned out Olaf, Azir, and Sion for themselves, but they left open the Swain. So that's going to be first picked right here. Big buffs on 8.5, and he's also a flex pick.
Yeah, I don't dislike IG's bans at all. Actually, I think that they are the correct bans. Jingdong are the ones who removed the Zaya, which is an interesting ban to say the least. Of course, it gets rid of the entire duo of both Zaya and Rakan. But by priority picking the Swain, they still leave open this as an option. Of course, being on blue side, you know that IG would just insta-lock Zaya Rakan as the duo right now in this rotation, where they had to change it. So it's not a bad choice. It does give them the Swain, but it doesn't give them priority on their bottom.
Right, and Invictus Gaming will actually just lock in the bot lane regardless, which will be Varus and Braum. Now back over to JD Gaming. We'll see if they actually have the flex picks to really go toe-to-toe with Invictus Gaming on blue side. They will lock in the Alistair here. We'll see if they reveal any of their solo laners right now, or whether they'll just go for jungle or bot lane.
The thing with JD is that they didn't play, or so they didn't pick themselves something that was outrageously different to normal. They didn't draft something crazy. They didn't flex pick. They didn't do anything that was innovative. It was how they played the game that was completely different. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see the exact same thing from them again, a similar style, we should say that is. And this is a very similar style so far. A jungler that is a tank, a support that is a tank, a top laner that is a hybrid between both and has the ability to engage, complementary of course. And then for your bottom lane, the Varus is already taken, so we may see something that just deals a lot of damage through both mid and through AD. That's all they need.
Well, we're beefing up the Freljord in this game as we lock in another Sejuani along with the Braum in there. And Invictus Gaming will also decide to ban the Galio against Yagao. So, Rookie, he's not feeling the Lucian this game, it feels like. And Jingdong go back over to them, see if they decide to target the top lane once again like they did in the first game, or whether they want to start hitting the mid lane pool as well. Or so they say Ocean, because it is Rookie playing, will hit the Narban.
You could slaughter the mid lane pool from Yagao, however, with the Azir gone, with the Galio gone. You could get rid of something like the Talia if you would like, but of course they even have the first pick being on the red side, so they could fourth pick their mid laner here and take something else away from Yagao. I think that is a very viable place to focus. His third most played champion is Malzahar with 4 picks. Not exactly a champion you see very often right now.
That's definitely a champion puddle. What's it going to be? Caitlyn decided to move that down to the bottom lane, a ban against RD. We'll give Varus a better laning phase, but Varus still does fine into Caitlyn. And Camille will be the final ban towards Invictus Gaming, taking that one specifically away from the Shine.
Yeah, Varus does fine, but Caitlyn has a lot more wave control, particularly at level 1, and this may be actually bottlenecking RD into something like the Tristana again that he seemed very uncomfortable on to say the
But
least.
he priority picked it in that first game, over Caitlyn and over Varus.
Yes, and that's what I didn't like about their draft last game. And the nice thing about it this time is that he doesn't have a choice, so I will like the pick a little bit more. And I don't mind Tristana Alistar as a combo. I think ultimately the problem was the playstyle they had, so that can be innovated.
Rise will be the pickup for Rookie in the mid lane, though it could also go to the Shy, depends. And Jingdong Gaming over to them. Remember, Kai'Sa is enabled on 8.5. Now, the buffs and all of that happened on 8.6 and the hotfix have not gone through. So Kai'Sa being locked in here would be interesting, and it will beat the Jinx in the end. So, still funky, but happy to see the Jinx once more. This will be our 5th game in the LPL.
He doesn't want to pick the Kog'Maw. The Caitlyn is gone, the Tristana is risky and proven to not work, and he's into the Varus. So they go towards the Jinx. It isn't the Ashe that has a decent laning phase matchup, but they want to have something that can scale up, can do a lot of late game damage, and perhaps exploit IG, where they have proven to be not as strong, and that is in the late game team fighting, if they can get there.
We'll get to see Yagao on Talia on this one. He's had 2 games so far in the LPL. See if he can do this against Rookie in the mid lane, as he has got the Rise and a top lane pick that was left open that we didn't think about, and clearly JD didn't think about, even though they banned it in game 1. Jace.
I mean, it's not surprising that the Shy will go towards Jace banned in game 1, right? Lots of focus goes towards specifically the Shy on this pick. He's one of the few players that just seems to, like it so much that he's willing to commit to it no matter what. He's into the Swain, and I have a feeling, I've played this matchup once already.
Oh yeah, how'd it go?
I was the Swain. I won, but I knew the Jace was bad. So I could tell that if the Jace was good, I would lose the matchup. That's how it feels playing against him. I have a feeling that that's going to be a pretty favorable to Shy matchup here.
We'll pretty much just poke the Swain to infinity, and it will be pretty bad news bears, to be honest. He can also kind of disengage from the Swain as well with his standard To the Skies and Thundering Blow combo. So pretty much everything that the Shy brings to the top lane on the Jace, Swain just has to be sad about and just stand there and take it.
Yeah, of course, the E is something that you could consider, and the whole concept of playing Swain is use the Claw, pull him in, trade with the Eldritch Blast, but if you do that against the Jace, it's just going to turn into a hammer form and just rain down damage onto you, and you're like, well, that was a big mistake, wasn't it?
Thanks for the gap close, mate.
Yeah.
And then we'll disengage, and Swain doesn't really have the tools after he's used the Never Moved to really chase this the Jace back.
That's where Phase Rush comes into play, of course, getting a bit of extra movement speed. But it's not just the top lane we have to look at. Whilst it's super awesome to see the Shy play one of his signature champions, it's the rest of the map. It's what IG can really do as a team composition right now. Because I do still feel like Jace winning lane, Sejuani very good control in the jungle, the preferred matchup into Zac. Rise in the mid lane right now does get bullied around by a Talia sometimes with push, but Minion Dematerializer always circumvents that fact, and he should be perfectly fine. And the bottom lane is the place where I would say that IG, once again, very good laning.
They have the advantage, but it was a conscious choice from JD Gaming here to lock in that Jinx at the end. I'm going to hand it over to the crowd. He didn't even let the last guy finish. He was already in there.
Trying to take his
My
throne.
time to shout.
The Azael of the crowd.
100%. Invictus Gaming, they've got 3 members right now in the Pixel Brush, looking at a potential invade. Man was warding them off, warding off the evil spirits by banging his cowbell.
He's doing a rain dance.
It didn't work. Invictus Gaming coming anyway. It's going to be a ward over the wall, most likely.
Give him the bell.
Where's the bell?
Tragic.
He freaks out when the Invictus Gaming
He's too serious,
members,
Pulse. He's too serious. We're not going to get it.
Rock up, yeah. Rest in peace. We get to take a look at the Keystones, though, so it's not going to be Phase Rush out from Zoom. In fact, it will be the Ares, so he's assuming he will be able to get a bunch of damage, or at least abilities, down into the Shy when he's trying to trade as well.
I think that it's because he's not confident that he'll get the Phase Rush procs off effectively against the Jace in lane. He actually needs the extra damage to compensate. You know that the Shy will be running area as well. You can see that on the top right of your screen, just under his summoner spells, that he has got it. He wants to try and at least keep up with the trade that a Jace can put down onto you. So I don't mind that. Of course, it's the corrupting potion as well in this case. Wants to try and survive in that lane, be as efficient as possible. We'll have to see how he continues to play this one out, as it is resolve in the secondary.
We'll go Mana Flow Band and Scorch as well. Makes sense. And a resolve secondary, bone plating specifically for the trading. If you're into a Jace matchup, you will be getting mad value from that rune.
when playing Iron Skin. The things that stop Jace from being as optimal in terms of damage as possible. So we get to see the changes, of course, to Swain on 8.5. A big feature here. One of the reasons that Swain may be just a feel-good champion compared to the clunkiness that he was before is the ultimate change. That it just hits everyone in the circle as well. Chops a lot, but he doesn't have phase rush to keep up with them.
Yes.
So that may hurt him on the opposite side.
W was also expanded to be slightly easier to hit, but it really is about that ultimate, because before you get into a team fight and then you just stick a tank in front of Swain and he's just really, really sad because he hits nobody. He just hits the tank and they take no damage. He's like, well, why did I even stack up my passive? Because I got nothing from it.
Of course, this time around, when you look at the whole composition that he's in, a lot of the role of the Swain is just to try and complement with extra damage and stand in front of the Jinx. If someone's running in front of him to get to the Jinx, and that's probably the best case scenario for Zoom in this instance, where it's all about RD. It's all about his laning phase and trying to make sure that he survives the lane, scales up, gets 2 items, and can attempt to team fight. This isn't your traditional Rogue Warriors composition, where they just put everything into shielding and protecting him. It's much more of a RD has to do it on his own.
You can take a look at some of the stats as well in the top lane. First in solo kills, it's the Shy. Who else would it be? I believe Xiang's pretty close. I think he's at 3rd right now. Damage per minute, first, the Shy. 2nd, 3rd in CSD at 15. He's got really good stats, guys.
Yes, he does. I think I just saw a stat as well going around on social media of solo kills in the EU LCS, and the #1 in the whole league was 9.
Wow.
Well, the Shy is, he's got 15. All by himself.
Just in the top lane, yeah. Zoom, however, I will say that does have the highest CSD at 15. So he typically does win his laning phases. He has really good mechanics from what we've seen so far in the split.
Yeah, Zoom's actually one of the few upstarts that we're starting to see a lot of positive things from. We saw him in the Demacia Cup just prior to the LPL Spring Split starting, and he had an Alawi game that I watched. I was honestly just in awe of how good he was at League of Legends. It's a shame that hasn't consistently translated over to the league so far, but we get glimpses of it, we get moments.
Exactly. There's a lot to like about Zoom. He plays Alawi, he plays Yorick.
He also just has a lot of potential as a top laner, not just the champion.
Clid's gonna find Ning. Get out of my jungle! Or at least get out of this ramp. I don't want to see you here ever again.
Much better game from JD so far. This may be a non-22-minute experience.
Shy will jump onto Zoom right here. This is how the trading pattern will go. If Zoom uses a combo, then the Shy has to engage, otherwise he just loses health. We'll go in this one for sure. But yeah, to speak about how JD Gaming are doing in the early game, they're actually tracking Invictus Gaming now. Ning isn't just getting to do whatever the heck he wants in the jungle.
Yeah, he's not completely unlocked anymore. He's not going to go towards an area where Clid isn't and just get everything for free. But there is a reason we're looking at top lane so much right now, and that is because it's a dangerous place for any Swains to be running around in. The Shy is putting in some serious work, and we said this was going to happen since Champions Select. So that's why we are going to go back to the jungle conversation. And how do they impact the map? Well, if they're fighting each other, the Shy is winning top lane. If the Shy is winning top lane, then IG tend to be winning the game.
And that's why playing League of Legends and the LPL for Ning feels so good. Because even if you're just locking down the enemy jungle or just saying hello to them, it means that your lane's most likely just winning because you have some of the strongest talent pound for pound in every single lane. You know, we look at the top lane, we haven't seen much of the bottom lane, but right now Jackie Love has that CS advantage over Jinx right now, as to be expected of the laning phase. But again, Invictus Gaming are a win lane, win game team.
And they're just way too good at winning lane. Rookie has the teleport on Sealed Spellbook Rise. He just wants to control and diffuse the lane as well against the Taliyah. Has the dematerializer like we expected, but of course Taliyah has that of her own, so Yagao is able to pick that one up. Means that mid's pretty much equalized, and that's why top lane's a constant focus. If mid's even, bot's going as expected, top lane will always be a stomp, not just a winning lane. We're starting to see that constantly reflect, and the reason that I would say this is it's traded through health values. It's not something that's just a CS lead, like the Jinx is a deficit, the Varus has a lead. It's that they're actually expending and trading health as a major resource here, which opens up junglers to come to this lane at any moment.
It's interesting because you can kind of equate their health bars right now to the amount of pressure they have in lane. And Zoom, he's hit some really crucial never moves in this lane from what I've seen right here to stand at least relatively even with the Shy, but you can just see there's 2 waves advantage to the Shy right now by virtue of just him getting Jace right here. Could have spent a solid 40 seconds in top lane, by the way, waiting for the Shy to step forwards.
He really wants to make this work, but he's not sure how the Shy is going to play it out. Yeah. That Gate Shock Blast was intentionally taken by Zoom as well, with the full intent of trying to get Clid in. He doesn't have the E yet. There he does.
There's the follow. Panzoom will activate the Demonic Ascension right here. Nice little sling by Khalid. Trying to get in range. Oh, he's just at the very edge. Activate it. There we go. It feels so much better.
A lot of time expended to get that, but it is successful, and that's what matters in the end. So JD, they'll get themselves the first blood. Ning, I think he's just looking to stop some recalls. He may be able to pick off a cheeky kill.
Oh, he's interrupted both of them.
Oh, Rookie
but
as
Rookie's
well,
on his
never
way.
mind.
He can turn this into a 2v2. Ning now forces the flashes out, but the Rune Prison's out. Good block from Klid, but last auto attack will finish him off out from Rookie. And Klid also falls. Yagao comes into the top lane. 1 versus 2. He's trying to defend the blobs with his life. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do it. No, he actually just turned into a bouncing post for the Essence Flux. And Yagao, now he'll just also die for that one. The Spell Flux, rather. 3 kills to Invictus Gaming. First game it was bot side. Second game it's top side.
And Yagao had no reason to come up to top lane, continue the rest of that trade and find something because Zac was already gone. Swain was already dead. JD just bite off way too much. And they shouldn't have committed to the remnants of this fight. Rookie's here so soon. Look at mid lane. Look how far away Talia is. That's how long it's going to take him to get here. So Ning's in, hits the stun. Rookie follows up with the flash. And from this point, Klid, yes, it's a good block, but Zoom was going to die no matter what. So he just takes an extra Q for his troubles. And Yagao actually just becomes a conduit at the end of this as well. Very easy to get the bounces off, and he's going to take a free full combo whilst they're trying to kill the Zac. He should have been evacuated. 10 seconds. He shouldn't have came up to top lane, pushed mid lane, get some damage onto the outer turret mid. It was not going to be able to contribute.
There was also some very key miscalls in the fight that you could visibly see because the Zac decided to turn around once Talia said, I'm here, we can fight. So it takes another like 2 seconds of damage before Talia arrives. So again, it is worth breaking down these micro moments between these two teams because this could be the crack that opens up and snowballs the game now for Invictus Gaming, much like game 1.
That's basically just the way it works with Invictus Gaming. You give them a small amount of a lead, you give one lane control, and suddenly that can just bleed over to everywhere. We've seen Rookie hard carry by himself. We've seen JackeyLove, we've seen the Shy do the exact same thing. That's what makes this team so scary.
And coming into the second game, it just seems like Invictus Gaming maybe even have more of an advantage at 9 minutes into the game. Advantage in mid lane, over 20, around 20 CS right there. Top lane's 2 waves advantage. As the Shy is kind of being chased down by Swain right here. Had the advantage of those minions. And the bottom lane, that's where the big disparity is. 30 CS over to JackeyLove is pretty gigantic.
We have to mention it started off well for JD. They're going to go again. Klid wants to have a crack, but he's not going to find it.
JackeyLove. And Klid had nothing really to punch, so he couldn't stretching strike JackeyLove back towards him. Meanwhile, on the top lane, the Shy goes for the initiate. He knows he has a jungler coming up right here, but the Shy's taking a lot of damage. He needs to be careful of the Demonic Ascension.
Yeah, the Shy's getting very close to kill range from Zoom here. He has the activation on the ultimate available right now, but he's not going to be able to commit. Again, Jace, too nimble, too mobile, and just too fast. Overall is Ning, diving mid.
Perfect ultimate, and the CC combo out from Rookie is beautiful. Gets flicked back in, but Ning, he's still good to go.
A desperate attempt, honestly, from Yagao to try and get a trade kill at all. But he had no cleanse, he had no flash, and we all know why he didn't have any of those summoner spells, and that's because he tried to contribute to the top lane. So Ning, this is why he's a smart jungler.
It's a good trade for Zoom right here, and disengages from the Shy trying to re-engage. So the Zoom has a small opportunity here unless the Shy goes back to base, which is most likely what he's going to do now. Only has the Blood Water Cutlass.
There's a bit of life still, but not enough to stay in lane. There is a genuine kill threat if he ever commits himself to being in that top lane. And Klid is recalling from base. He's been missing for a significant amount of time. They'll show their due respects, of course, for the jungler of JD, who has been ganking and playing a little bit better this time around. Unfortunately, we're just starting to see how good IG really are and why they are contenders to go to MSI and the best team in our league right now. They can find amazing leads from smaller things, even if they don't start it, even if it's reactive.
I mean, hey, we were talking about Invictus Gaming coming into this bit saying this is Invictus Gaming's era. Like, finally JackeyLove's come of age. Finally, this is the time when Invictus Gaming are complete in a way. And Invictus Gaming at the start, well, they instantly lost to RNG. So we were like, was all the hype for nothing? And then they proceeded to win every single series back-to-back from then on.
By the way, we all came out and said on our tier list that they would be the best team in the league. Last time we did that, it didn't work out like we'd planned. So
there's some severe Moncats going on in the team, but Rookie, he's still chasing down onto Yagao, misses the final overload. Meanwhile, in the jungle, Klid's being caught out. brings out the Let's Bounce, but in the middle lane once more, Rookie will engage underneath the tower and find the kill onto Yagao.
The Emax Rookie does so much work. They're still going and looking towards bottom lane. This would have to be a dive though.
Now the Unbreakable will knock up onto Jackulov, but there are 2 more members of Invictus Gaming that they did not bank on. Jackulov canning away, the flash forward from RD, is it good enough? The stun from Baolan saves the AD carry. Sejuani finds the kill on the backside, and Jackulov disengages. That was disgusting.
There is nothing that JD can do. Flashes over the wall, aggressive plays, counter plays. IG have it all accounted for and they're able to win the trades. It's 1-8 now and pressure onto the bottom lane outer turret. This is just clean as a whistle.
That was almost a cross-map ace right there. Hadzoom died. 4 members across the board all died from JD Gaming. And in the top lane, Zoom is just sat on top lane island being quite sad right now because he's done fairly well in this lane. He keeps landing the combos against the Shy. He may actually pick up the kill right here. Demonic Exception, where's the pop? Doesn't need it. Sif Lightning finds the 1 versus 1 kill against the leader in solo kills, the Shy.
Gives him the Eldritch Blast, but we get to watch a replay of IG winning. Cover your eyes, top lane never happened. First off, of course, Rookie has the Q miss twice. Yagao's dodging it, but it doesn't matter. 3 Qs miss, he's Emaxing. Ryze has so much damage from just the 1 spell that it didn't matter in the end. He'll still get the kills, and then he's able to rotate bottom. The engage from JD. We said this has to be a dive. Well, it doesn't because JD go towards IG. I think that's the biggest mistake that they made here. An attempt to actually engage onto Jackulov instead of letting IG come towards them. Just a little bit closer, and it could have been okay. But no.
It could have, shoulda, woulda, coulda. In the end, didn't happen. Invictus Gaming take down the first turret of the game in the bottom side, and again, rotate their bottom lane pressure into top side now. So even though Zoom, you managed to get your highlight reel moment, now you have to sit in this 1 versus 2. However, he will rotate to the bottom side, but basically his laning phase is over. So
he's going to have to commit to the 1v1 for the rest of the game, and even if he wins it, he needs to now contribute to the 4v4 that'll be losing. So he has to teleport. His responsibilities are very clear. What are you doing?
I don't know. He's very much pushed up and he's getting collapsed on, but he has the rest of the team coming in. Brom caught out underneath the tower. Tower shot comes into Mao. Claims the kill credit. Gets a slowdown onto Jackulov. Follow up with the zap as well. Ning provides cover fire, and it is enough to get Jackulov out alive.
Clid, of course, is going to survive, and there's a teleport into the top lane right now. The Shy is just going to destroy the bottom lane inner turret because he's completely free to his own devices to push. But that is something from JD. They do get themselves a turret. They will trade. It's not a positive trade, but that's just kind of the way that you have to play League of Legends when you're this far behind. You have to just trade down as long as you're getting something.
And there are a lot of teams all over the world which would just not do that. You know, JD are a team rather, who very much identify exactly what they need to do during the game. Even though they can't do it, they will still go for the play. And that's really what separates JD Gaming away from a lot of the rest of the pack, really, when you look at the bottom of the table, and moves them more towards kind of the mid part of the standings.
Definitely, they're 5th place, fighting for playoffs. They've got 7 set victories for themselves, so they are a team with a lot of potential. And I never would have said that JD should be a playoffs team for this split. I'd be looking at the world split maybe next year even, as to when they come into their own and they start to flourish. So far, they've developed very well, and now we're just seeing where that development gets you. And unfortunately, it's not going to put you at the top of a table against a team that has been hyped up this much.
Exactly. If you put both IG and JD Gaming kind of on timelines, as we'll just take a look at the goal totals. That is a lot in the mid lane and a lot in the bottom lane. Not so much in the top lane, but avert your gaze. If you look at the timelines between Invictus Gaming and JD, Invictus Gaming, they've been in the league for a long time. They had this roster, excluding Jackulov. Jackulov comes into the roster and it's like, okay, well, if this doesn't work, then probably nothing's going to work. But thankfully, it did work, and they're almost undefeated now. JD Gaming, this is a new team, not new players, but they are very early on in their development, and Clid getting caught in that jungle, in the river rather, is some of the things that we start to see from this team. The Shy's not very happy that he got 1v1 killed, so he's coming back for more against Zoom, but now we'll have to disengage. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Mao, he's by himself. So seeing all these random players from JD Gaming being by themselves, getting caught out, like this is what we expect to see. The Shy, he's coming for blood right now. He's chasing down Zoom, giving him the hammer shock right now. Last auto attack, good vision cut off. That's almost a return kill. But the Shy reigns victorious.
There's a Jinx ultimate that gets him before Yagao can even get there as well. Oh boy, the Shy. I mean, he got the solo kill. It's all good. He got what he wanted. IG also get themselves an outer turret in top lane. They're pushing as well. They want the second. They want to get the inner. They're getting Herald as well. I mean, IG are just comprehensively handling them. Clid, gonna try.
Nice double knock-up, though. Abducts the Braum. Battleland's pretty tanky, but has to force the flash, comes in with the fissure, and Mal's also following through. RD with the last missile will find the kill. Now he gets the get excited. He's moving on to Jakilov. Not a knockup from Clear. Jakilov is dead to right. RD finds a second.
And it's at this point you will notice that Ning just recalled with the Rift Herald buff on a ward. So I would say that IG have just made a giant mistake, and I feel like that's a little bit of cockiness from them, trying to push more than they should be able to do. We'll get to watch the fight in the bottom lane as well. Zoom with no ultimate, a Swain with no ultimate is a Swain with a lot less damage. The Shy is able to play this one out nicely. Of course, he's just too sticky. Not much you can, and it was close. If the Q was able to, actually he got the Q off there. I think the difference was a shield. So the reindeer smacks him right in the noggin.
Yeah, exploded into a cloud presence. But just breaking down the mechanics some more, like instant ward comes down as soon as the auto attack is cancelled out from the Shy. Like, it's small things like that that just separate the Shy from so many other top lanes just in terms of mechanics.
Having a ward at all.
Yeah, having the ward in the first place to use.
Isn't that right? Top lane pulse.
Huh?
What's that?
What? Ning's going to be clearing out the control wards right here in the jungle, just trying to push this one in, but probably wants to be with the rest of his team. We're starting to see Invictus Gaming, as even you said, Rusty, starting to make some of these cocky moves. We saw it in the top lane, kind of saw it in the bot lane. It worked out in the bottom lane, but in the top lane, members are moving by themselves, pushing up too far. And JD, don't forget, this is a team that will punish you.
Oh, they'll get you. This is... Yeah, I do think cocky is the way to describe it right now. It's not arrogant. They're just pushing their luck. They're testing their limits, and they're getting a little bit overexcited with the plays that they can make. So you are waiting for that moment where IG say, okay, everyone, group up as 5, count in, do a major objective. Being only 18 minutes and 35 seconds into the game does still give them a 1 minute, 30-second window to try and
that was a magic trick.
Play with their food. That was.
Even we got bamboozled. Rookie was there, and next minute he wasn't. He was walking away.
Spectator confused all of us.
Invictus Gaming will go towards the Dragon, however, it will be an Ocean this time around. And just continue to accrue advantages. I mean, that being said, Invictus Gaming is still very far ahead. They have a 6,000 gold advantage. But JD, there's a Jinx who has 3 kills. It's starting to build up. You know, there's ways for JD to come back into this game.
Well, we said we wanted a 2-item Jinx. It may well be 3, given how strong the rest of them are. But the Herald can get summoned. And with this Herald, they can threaten another structure. Rise also the first to rotate by having the ultimate there. Also close to his summoners. Now, it doesn't mean that top laners will be here immediately. I don't know if they'll overcommit themselves to this, honestly. IG, I think they're just buying some time and trying to get incremental leads further and further.
Yeah, just trying to guide the Herald in here. It got kind of distracted by the minions, so didn't go for the initial charge. We'll get half damage on that inner turret, however. Then Invictus Gaming are now moving into the jungle, again taking away all the wards in the bottom jungle this time, as well as the fact that Rookie picked up that tower, Rusty.
I like this. It's weird because they're not doing it near the Baron that's about to spawn in 8 seconds, but they're doing it the red buff. They're trying to pick an objective that JD may even commit themselves towards, even if it's just a small commitment. We're at the point in the game where 1 kill is actually the major objective, and so they are looking for that single pick. They're trying to play the game slowly and use the vision to actually slow that game down. It doesn't net themselves a kill, but it'll get the red buff, and now it lets them recall for free as well, get extra wards, and start to reassess and replace those, presumably around the Baron.
He's going to move to the top side right here, still has his teleport, however, so Yagao actually doesn't have his teleport. So if there's a play around Baron right now for Invictus Gaming, Yagao will not be able to get there in the jiffy. It will be Zoom who's going to be first to the punch.
They have vision on when Yagao is as well right now on the Talia. He's just walked past a control ward, didn't bother clearing it, just pinged that there is vision there. Because if he spent time to clear that, that could be bad.
And to get the double abduction right there onto 2 members of IG. Jakilov backing away. Baolan jumps towards him, but he's already dead. The Shy comes in for the flank and looks for the turnaround right now. Rookie deciding to go in on this one. The Ning still has his ultimate. Mal with a nice knockback, and Clint is still backing away with his team, but they are so slow. And Invictus Gaming, they want blood. They want retribution for the kill you got on Baolan right now. Rise, he comes in. He delivers Sejuani to her doom, but managed to pick up 1, 2, looking for the 3rd. Yagao's down, and RD, can he find it? Get excited. Last auto attack from the tower, not enough. And 1 versus 2 under the tower. It won't happen. RD, hero defense, but a 1, make that a 2 for 5 trade for IG.
Yeah, you can take down 1 member of IG, but it's never going to result in you winning the team fight. Not when they're this far ahead, and not when Rookie playing Rise is now 7-0. He was so fed before that fight even started. Now they teleport in. They go straight onto the Baron buff as well. And that was still a hard-earned victory from IG. but it just shows you how good the individual members of this team are to allow them to still win that fight and make it look so commanding by the results.
It's just also, when you watch the fight, it's the instant turnaround from IG. The call was made and everyone commits.
And like, this is good. There's no Jace, there's no Rookie at the very start. Unfortunately, Yagao didn't cut the ball off. He may have been able to play that one a little bit better with the ultimate positioning. From this point, Rookie, the Shy, that is going forwards. Ning nails the target. Jackulov free hitting as well. It's an individual show. There's no real cohesion or communication needed. Just individually step up and body everybody. And from this point, Rookie's flash. Note this one. Out of the pulverize, gets himself the kill. Very nice follow-up.
Really good stuff from IG. They even teleport 2 members who are thinking about sending the Shy along as well, but making sure that JD couldn't move in a different direction, maybe get away from IG. They were coming with the old sandwich tactic. Now, with Baron in hand, push down the middle lane inner. Bot lane's already dead, moving towards the top lane now, being set up by Rookie. It all just fits together from IG.
That was one crit, however, away from Artie getting excited, killing Jackulov, and then preventing the Baron, perhaps. So again, when you talk about what IG are doing in this game, they are still testing their limits. They are still making this difficult for themselves. And this isn't the quintessential, you're watching IG at their best type of game, but you are watching IG play very good League of Legends, even considering that.
That jumps in, Rise ultimate doesn't happen, just sending some minions to mid lane to speed this push up for Jackulov, Ning, and Bao Lan. It's already down to half. Can JD actually push them off because Ning just bought time, locking Mao in Ice Prison. Clid comes in for the engage, he wants to grab someone back to his team, but he dies in midair. Mao running away on 2 legs. I don't know how Cal's doing that, but he's still down. Ning flash forwards, he's locked onto Yagao. Where's the team though? Because they've been locked away with the Talia wall. Follow through with the ultimate. Balan gets a present, but the rest of the team is alive. Yagao throwing pebbles across, and the Shy, while all that was happening, was taking bot lane tower.
Yeah, remember that wasn't everyone from IG, and now the Shy shows up to the party. Just flashes forwards to be aggressive, push him away perhaps from the inhib.
Well, steady on there, Rookie. Ning for another engage. Arctic Assault comes out, but look at Jinx.
Oh, Jinx
this is some resets ready to happen if he steps up. Yes, the Swain's dead, but I'm looking at RD. Can he make it happen? Please, give me a crit. I just want one.
He's praying to the Lord. Give him the penta.
Anybody. There's one crit. There's the get excited. Can he chase them down? He has an extra movement speed. There's the second. Clid steals it, but RD, he's still excited. He's still running.
Not going to get it. They're going to have to back away this time, JD, then defend their base. The inhibs are down. IG was, they were playing with it. They were making that real hard for him to get the Pensa, but you could see it. He could see it. It was montages in his eyes. Yep. That was going on YouTube immediately.
It would sing the praises of RD for the rest of his career if he managed to just sweep IG right there, but unfortunately it didn't happen, didn't get the crits when he wanted to, and IG back away at the right time, even though it was very close and down to the wire. And after all of that, Invictus Gaming managed to pick up 2 towers, 2 inhibitors, and the next round is going to be Mountain to add to their Mountain and Ocean, so Invictus Gaming will be able to knock down the rest of the turrets even faster.
If I got a pentakill against IG, I would show my mum. And she doesn't even know what League of Legends is. She barely knows what my job is right now. I'd still show her.
Just be impressed, Mum. That's all I need from you.
Just say wow. Pretend you're Owen Wilson for a day.
Definitely one to put in the scrapbook, tell the grandchildren about. Invictus Gaming now stuck in the base. I will say that the Jinx is still scary. She's moving toward the 3rd item. That's when you should be really scared of the Jinx. 5, 2, and 3 has gotten most of the gold and the resources from JD, the way that they've been playing this. So if there is a chance, it's on you, RD. I'm sorry that you're the guy who has to do it, but it's your time.
I mean, he's picked himself the Jinx. JD have consciously given him the Jinx, is what we should say as well. There is full acknowledgement that that's how they wanted to play this game out. It's just that, again, they're an early game focused team. Picking the Jinx is risky, but it means that if they win the early game, then they've got a really good insurance policy for later on. Against IG, it's okay to have something like the Jinx down there. You know you're going to lose in CS though. And giving IG any kind of lane control and leads is a risk.
But with the engage, he doesn't fully commit to it though, and he actually just needed to because he's dead as he lands. Meanwhile, the front line is just getting obliterated. RD doesn't even have any time to auto-attack anyone because everyone else is doomed. He's locked down. Rookie just 2-shot him. That's not okay. That's not fair. Yagao jumps back to the spawn pad, and IG, they probably want him too. Oh, Rookie, you can't just do that to someone.
That's not allowed. Oh, that hurts my soul. They've got the victory, False, but it's dirty.
I can hear RW chants right now because Invictus Gaming, they've just locked themselves and RW into playoff contention.
And a pretty stylish way to do it at that. Nice little 2-0 victory over Jingdong, who I will say went down fighting, acknowledged how the game was meant to be played out. They wanted to have early game. They didn't get it in the first game. They got slaughtered in the early game. They came into the second and said, all right, let's find a happy balance. Let's find a medium where we can still have early game presence, but we want to scale and be somewhere else where we can try and at least keep up with them, give it to them. They picked the Swain, that's their early lane control. If Zac goes up there, otherwise it's a bit of a mess, but Jace was counter-picked into it, bottom lane was winning. IG just, their champion pool depth is unparalleled in our league almost. And then their execution on those champions as well, their ability to play together is also just as strong.
Invictus Gaming moved to 27-4 in total games played this split, and have only dropped games against 3 teams. Invictus Gaming are by far the most dominant team in the LPL currently in the Spring Split of 2018. No one can take that away from them. Every single lane is strong, Ning facilitates well. The only thing that they have against them is maybe their avarice against some of the weaker teams. They decide to go for a little bit more, but that's really the smallest of nitpicks for Invictus Gaming.
I think for me, looking at the other side of the coin here as well, this was a battle of first versus fifth as well in their conference, but at the same time, it was going to be a surging JD if they're able to get a victory here. They just went off the back of a 2-0 win against RNG, and you had very high hopes for them coming into this set, perhaps higher than we should have. But at the same time, you get RNG, you beat RNG, you have that momentum, and then you just get demolished by IG. Well, that's a momentum halter, if ever I have seen it.
But there are reasons to be excited about JD Gaming. You watch their game against RNG and you're just like, wow, you see the moments of brilliance. Even in this series, you saw the flashes in the pan against Invictus Gaming, but it doesn't consistently happen. You know, JD, they finally engages, they finally outplays. You have an outplay from Zoom onto the Shy, like a 1v1 kill against a player of that caliber. Like, you can tell people you did that. You know, these are good things to happen for JD Gaming.
You want to talk about the...
And then it's mid lane fight.
On the other side there, Pulse. Hey, hello?
I can't tell if you're Frostgear and Rusty right now. I don't know what's going on. I'm Fish, maybe.
What was I saying? Oh, I'm gone. I'm back!
Ah, the voices in my head!
Okay.
We're going to send it over to the analyst desk. I'm done with this. See you later, guys.
Can't talk. Hello, thank you. Thank you, guys.
And
it's me.
that's the secret of life.
I think they can still talk to us right now if they need to. But hello, everyone. Welcome back to the analyst desk. Thank you guys for casting that match. Before we break it down a little bit further, let's first take a look at the draft between these two teams, because we finally get to see Swain being played on patch 8.5. Was banned out in the first match, and also the Shy, his signature champion of Jace, which was banned out in game number 1 as well. He picked it up into the matchup with Swain.
So I kind of want to talk about the relationship of having a Jace pick to the rest of the team composition. So not just in the LPL, but globally right now, we're seeing a lot of triple AP compositions. AP top laner, because Swain's powerful right now. Sejuani, of course, an AP jungler that's still in high priority. And then, of course, in the mid lane, you're usually going to run an AP mage of some sort of type. And what that does is, by having a Jace up in the top side, it means that Invictus Gaming are freed up to run something like a Varus in the bot side without being punished through itemization like Adaptive Helm. You know, a lot of that magic damage doesn't necessarily get cancelled out, and so when you run a Varus as opposed to like a hyper carry, because if you have triple AP top, usually you'd have to run a hyper carry in the bottom lane, so that way you aren't punished for having that type of itemization. It allows them to have a very strong mid-game spiking composition with that Jace and Varus hitting at the same time. So that is something that is unlocked for Invictus Gaming simply because they can pull this out, whereas every other LPL team is really reliant on Camille if they want to attempt this.
And a conversation we were having off-air earlier on was the fact that JDG, they banned out Swain when they were on red side, which you disagreed shouldn't be a red side ban if you can play the champion, which they showed in game number 2 that they can play. On top of that, it must feel really unfortunate for teams to play against Invictus Gaming and know that they have to ban out this Jace when it's a champion that's not played by many other players, and IG are the one team that can pick it up.
And I just want to give a bit more context. I disagree with the Swain red side ban simply because a lot of Swain's power does come from his ability to flex pick. So if they're banning it on red side, where he's still a strong champion, but he's not like the priority pick right now, at least not in my opinion, and then you ban him on the one side that really utilizes flex picks, I just think that's a big miss, especially when you're facing something like Invictus Gaming. It was clear that their idea was around the top side anyway. This time around, they get the Swain, it does okay, but it's still the Shy's Jace. And even though Swain did get that very early on solo kill by a miscalculation from the Shy, he just came and gave it right back to him even harder than before.
And that's where a lot of the early game focus was on the top side of the map. But the big play that we saw that swung the game in IG's favor was focused on the bottom lane. You already talked about how Jackie Love picked up his Jace. It started from a mid lane battle between the two mid laners, and then it moved down to that bottom lane fight.
Yeah, if you just pay attention to what's happening on the minimap, you can already see that disaster is about to strike, and now that IG has killed Yagao, it means Talia is not coming to save anyone. And again, going back to the Jace pick, it allows Jackie Love to pick up the Varus and not be punished. She doesn't have to go for something or a crit item ADC like a Xayah, like a Caitlyn, like a even like a Kog'Maw in the LPL, because we play that one crit based a lot. And it means that he's going to have lane priority, that he's going to be pushed up in the lane, he's going to be trading very aggressively, and he can set his team up for early dives like that because the minion wave is rolling in, he's fine to trade, he has I think 1.5 items at that point, gets the 2 item power spike, Jace then comes online, and they're free to group up and play around the power that is Rookie.
And this is a much more stable composition that came out from JDG. We saw the Jinx pick up, which we have seen teams like Rogue Warriors play before, and Jinx has been buffed slightly in the previous few patches. Is this a sign that we're going to start to see her being played more of as hyper carry? Because there are a lot of hyper carries in the current meta.
What's interesting is kind of the relationship that the LPL has with different ADCs. So if you look globally, like let's take Korea, they're the closest ones to us. A lot more of their priority was on Caitlyn. Caitlyn was for a while there like priority pick from blue side, whereas the LPL really hasn't touched Caitlyn. Now if Caitlyn swings back into the meta, then you start to see more of the Ashe, the Jinx, because these are champions that can actually deal with Caitlyn in the lane phase. We've already seen Prey go back to his Ashe. He's a signature Ashe player, but you know, it kind of evolves the meta for ADC. In the LPL, we love Xayah. Xayah is like the champion next to Varus, and the LPL believe that the Xayah just gives you automatic lane priority even if you don't have the recon because of the stare rate on the W, so that when you walk into lane phase, you're already going to have a pushing lane. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but it is kind of this interesting thing where it definitely sticks out for the LPL comparatively to the global regions.
I mean, we even saw IG banning out Caitlyn in this match alone, so sharing that they are also trying to adapt to the same philosophy that the LCK is following through. And a lot of players in Castle even talked about how Xayah provides the kill pressure onto a champion like Tahm Kench, which we see picked up all the time by multiple supports in the LPL. And besides that bottom lane dive that came out, that didn't work out for JDG, and IG were able to swing it back around. They had one fight around the mid lane and in the base. Oh, sorry, a fight around Raptor Camp, where they were able to pull people back.
I mean, to be fair, it really ends in the base because they chase for a very long time, and this is really the fight that ends things here. Now, JD, they do the best they can. They try to get the engagement, but Invictus Gaming at this point, they're way too far ahead. I believe Rookie is something like 5-0. He has just been all over the board. He is completely stacked up. Jackie Love got a free lane, and this is just the gold leads speaking for themselves, even next to some of the flashy plays that IG are individually making.
Yeah. This was the one chance JDG had to try and come back into the match, and from there on out, it was just IG pushing down structures, pushing through the rest of the base.
Yeah, because again, they need to survive here because they have the Jinx. They need to bridge her into the late game. She's got nothing at this point. Like, Artie's like, oh, I guess I'm worthless again in game number 2. I guess I'll see you never mind, series is over.
And there's another impressive performance coming out from Rookie, 9-0 and 12 on Rise. He picks up another MVP for Invictus Gaming.
Rookie, the best mid laner in the LPL, and I don't even want to call it the best mid laner in the world. He hasn't seen the likes of, you know, an in-form BDD yet, and maybe a Faker starts to crawl back, but unfortunately, we haven't seen Rookie at his best on the international stage to prove that he is the best in the world, but I think this might be the year because his ticket to MSI is looking real nice.
It certainly is. Invictus Gaming are incredibly dominant in the LPL at the moment. On top of that, it's one of the times where we get to see Rookie play against other players that can match him in terms of that flashy playstyle. Now he's playing with the Shy. He's playing with people like Jackie Love as well. Previously, it's always been about the Rookie highlight reel.
Oh, I see. You're talking about Invictus Gaming. I was like, there are plenty of mid laners that could keep up with Rookie in the LPL. We've got Xiao, who's still rocking around, as well as CA in form. But no, I agree. This is a different animal of Invictus Gaming. IG fans have been waiting a very long time for this moment, Fish. As an old school IG fan, it has been so long since IG have gone as a favorite into a final that would have a bye into semifinals, and since 2015 that they would have a berth at Worlds.
And one of the biggest threats to Invictus Gaming moving in towards playoffs, because we've seen Rogue Warriors step up. They become a lot stronger. They've only dropped 2 games this split alone, 1 more than Invictus Gaming. And on top of that, teams like RNG looked like they were going to start threatening. Unfortunately, they dropped their match to JDG, which Invictus Gaming just cleanly swept in this series.
And it's the combination of factors that Invictus Gaming have that Rogue Warriors and RNG don't. It's the champion pool depth, it's the superior drafts, it's the ability to play a very fast mid game and a consistent late game. One of the only holes, it feels like, for IG is their own arrogance. And you see this a lot with JackieLove in particular. Like, take game number 1 when JackieLove decides that he can kill Yagao, a Galio, who's just caught out, and then he ends up getting ganked by, 20 people and dies. That is the weakness. That is the crack of IG. And yes, at an international level, you can't be that arrogant because you will run into the best of the best, especially at MSI, which has a smaller champion pool. But if you don't punish that, there's not a lot of areas that IG are actually weak in.
Yeah, IG are being really dominant, still showing that they can diversify their playstyle. We already saw, like you said, the Lucian mid being picked up today, still moving towards that mid lane jungle synergy. Is this something that we're starting to see more internationally, or is this really an LPL focused playstyle? Because not only are they focusing around their mid lane and jungler, but they're very aggressive in winning lanes as early as they can.
I mean, it's different in the nature of the relationship. I think Kakao said it best in his AMA. He talks about how the Korean style of jungling just doesn't work in the LPL. And the idea is that if you watch the LCK, they will move with their junglers. Like, take Longzhu, for example. When Peanut is making these aggressive plays and these invades, it's his laners who are collapsing and moving with him, and it is Peanut that is really setting a lot of tempo in a lot of their games. And with Olaf being so strong, it makes sense that it's very much about the jungler. Our junglers, it's not the laners blitzing in after them and following them. It's them constantly ganking the lanes because they say this lane matchup has won. I'm just going to gank it over and over and break it. And so that's how it's different.
And although historically it has not worked out for a lot of the Korean junglers that have moved to the LPL, and playing around them has not worked out for LPL teams.
Bengi, Dandy, Spirit.
But we still have one team that does play in a similar style, which is going to be Snake. They play around SOFM the similar way you'd play around an LCK jungler. And at the moment, they are the top of their conference. Could this be the threat to Invictus Gaming at the moment?
I mean, the last time we saw Snake versus IG, that was a hard no. But yeah, Snake are probably the one team that do have a close... it's a really soft Korean style because they are very jungle focused and playing towards their jungler instead of their jungler towards them. But frankly, I don't think anything stops IG unless you have the star power to stand up to them in lane phase. That's the thing. If Invictus Gaming ran into a team like Longzhu, who have a lot of star power themselves and really know their responsibility, and then fit together as an incredible 5v5, I don't know if IG can beat that because we haven't seen IG tested in that way. If they run into people and they don't roll them over in lane phase, do IG still have the macro depth to keep up with the elite teams in the world? Because they haven't been tested domestically.
Well, we'll have to find out through the rest of the domestic competition because there's still 2.5 weeks left of the LPL. But congratulations to Invictus Gaming as well as Rogue Warriors because that win over JDG has secured those two teams the first two spots into playoffs.
Not their seeds, though. Just locked them into the playoffs.
Just locked in, so they guarantee a fight to try and make it to MSI for the LPL. But that's just the first match that we have today. We still have another match later on tonight. It's going to be EDG taking on OMG. That match will be played from Chengdu, I believe, where OMG's arena... sorry, it's going to be Vici Gaming against...
It's Vici versus... No, you're confused because it's in Chongqing. So usually when we go to Chongqing, it's Snake that's playing because it's their arena, but it's EDG versus Vici Gaming.
Yeah, EDG will be taking on Vici Gaming. That starts at 7 o'clock Shanghai time. So we're going to have a little bit of an extended break. We'll be back with that match in just a bit.